Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video tonight there is lots to negotiate about. By the way, this is my third video because I've already done two videos earlier on today. But on this video I am going to be giving you the latest news on Angel Gomes because a bit more additional information is updated about him. Also going to be giving you some news on Paul Pogba, and there's lots of other things to talk about. But the first topic of the development I am going to start with is Angel Gomes. So obviously, I'm going to give you the main explanation why Angel Gomes hasn't played much under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and hasn't played much this season is because, his future is uncertain, is Angel Gomes's. And obviously, due to his contract situation, because Angel Gomes's contract does expire in like 3 months' time. Now, obviously, up until this point, Angel Gomes has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. He has been a United player since the age of 8, and I think he was in our youth academy for around 12 years. So he's actually been in the senior squad with us since 2017 or 2018. Angel Gomes did make his debut for the club in our win against Crystal Palace on the final day of the 2017 season, and of course this was under Jose Mourinho. I think this season Angel Gomes has only played twice for Manchester United in the Premier League. In total, though, in all competitions, he's only made around 6 appearances. So his appearances are definitely limited. And I did say, when's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going to be convinced to give Angel Gomes his opportunities? Obviously, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, like I mentioned. You've got likes of Chon, Brandon Williams, Mason Greenwood and all of that have played more than Angel Gomes this season. But I think, we're hopeful of trying to get him a new contract at the football club. Reportedly, we're willing to offer him around £25,000 a week to convince him to stay at the football club. But I think, Angel Gomes has given his own perception on this, and he's actually unhappy, with our current offer. But Solskjaer did actually, still say that, he believes Angel Gomes' future still lies at Manchester United. So obviously, the likes of Chelsea have expressed an interest in him. I think recently, Barcelona have also expressed an interest in Angel Gomes, but, I just don't think, we are determined to sell the player, basically. So with the uncertainty over his future, this is why he hasn't played much under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So that's basically the latest news on him. I think he's only the age of 18 or 19 is Angel Gomes. But could still possibly leave the football club now. So now we'll delve into news on Paul Pogba. So I've just been reading recent reports, and it does say that Manchester United have made a contract decision on Paul Pogba, and reportedly, we will offer Paul Pogba an extension in his contract, because as it stands at the moment, Paul Pogba's got 2 years left on his contract. It is a year, but there is also an option of a further year, so I think we're going to trigger that option of a further year. And Fabrizio Romano, who's an Italian journalist, and he does tend to be reliable the vast majority of the time, he's come out and said, Manchester United, will extend Paul Pogba's contract. I think he did actually say around 6 months ago that Man United, we're going to obviously, extend, Paul Pogba's contract. So this is actually, stemming from Fabrizio Romano, and that obviously, Paul Pogba's future still remains uncertain. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to be staying at Manchester United, or we don't know if he's going to be leaving Manchester United this summer. Like I mentioned, since he rejoined the club from Juventus back in 2016, he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. So he's had a long-running transfer saga because, like I mentioned, this year he's been subjected to intense transfer speculation. Last summer, he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Back under the Jose Mourinho era, he was subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, Pogba did enjoy a difficult relationship with Jose Mourinho and that. But yeah, I just think, we need to get his future resolved as soon as possible so we can end this long-running transfer saga. But obviously, Solskjaer did come out and, after the 5-0 win against Lask, and he did actually quote out that Paul Pogba will remain at Manchester United next season. Paul Pogba himself come out last week and did actually say, he wants to stay with Manchester United. This is what Paul Pogba said. and he said he was interested in extending his contract at the football club. But he's on a substantial amount at the moment. You've got Pogba on like 290 grand a week. So in that aspect, he is one of the highest paid players at the football club. And I think the main explanation why Paul Pogba did say he was keen on staying at Man United, because he does believe he can form a partnership with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. Because Pogba, is aware of the impact that Bruno Fernandes has made, because Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Bruno Fernandes has 3 goals and 4 assists. And like I mentioned, he's very instrumental. His decision making is very, very good. And he's definitely making the difference in the team, is Bruno Fernandes. I think they do have similarities, to be fair, to Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. But Bruno Fernandes is definitely, the best player we've recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. And we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Ferguson era. And obviously, a lot of money's been invested on recruiting players in all the managerial eras since the Ferguson era and that. We obviously know that, Fernandes isn't enough. Obviously, we need more than him if we are going to be, title contenders going on into next season. By the way, I just want to say as well, Dimitar Berbatov has come out. Of course, he's a former Manchester United player, and he's come out and spoken about, Paul Pogba. And he's actually, said that Manchester United should keep Paul Pogba, but he's got doubts, about, Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba playing as a partnership in our midfield. Due to that, they do have similarities as players, and this is the main explanation why Berbatov doesn't think, it would work out between Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba as a partnership in our midfield. But the positive news is regarding Paul Pogba, like I mentioned. He's now back in training, as it did confirm yesterday. He did say he will be involved in full sessions with the first team squad. Maybe I think something's been cancelled about Paul Pogba, by the way, because he's actually been having personal coaching with Michael Carrick as Paul Pogba. But his appearances have been limited this season. He's only played 8 times for Manchester United. He hasn't played since the 4-1 win against Newcastle on Boxing Day, and he hasn't started from the start since September. So let's just put that into the equation. But Solskjaer did reveal last week that Paul Pogba would have been back in training this week. By the way, like I mentioned, our players have been tested for coronavirus, because obviously, despite the outbreak of the coronavirus, Solskjaer has still ordered, our team to train as normal. So it was very, very important to test our players for coronavirus and that. But, the clubs that, revert back to what I said about Pogba, the clubs that have been in for Paul Pogba, obviously Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked to him. Don't forget, there was a relentless link to him last summer. His actual preference last summer was a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, there's been talks about him making a return back to Turin, because Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, and the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison. There's been a lot of talks about him going to PSG. Obviously, Barcelona have been in for him in the past. But so whether he stays or goes or not, I do not know. But definitely no, I think we'd want at least £100 million if we was to sell him this summer, because obviously we'd want to get more than what we paid for him, because we did pay £89 million for him from Juventus. Don't forget, we had him when he was young under the Ferguson era, but due to limited appearances, we let him go on a 3 transfer. Obviously, his agent, Mini Raiola, to be fair, has softened his stance now on Pogba, because obviously, he's been, obviously talking with quite a few clubs to get him a transfer away from Manchester United completed. Obviously, don't forget, a while back, he was, talking a lot, about, Solskjaer and that. And obviously, a lot of United fans and Man United in general didn't like what his agent was saying. So whether he stays or goes or not, I do not know. So that's the latest news regarding Paul Pogba. But he is now back from injury, which is very, very good news. So if the season does resume, Paul Pogba should immediately start playing again. But I don't know if the season's actually going to resume after April the 3rd. As you all know, the Premier League is suspended. At least until the April the 3rd due to the coronavirus. Obviously, a lot of games across the globe, have been suspended due to the virus. And obviously, a lot of sporting events in general have been cancelled. Obviously, I gave you the news earlier on that the Euros, Euro 2020 has been cancelled until the summer of 2021. I knew it was going to get cancelled anyway. This was confirmed by UEFA. They did confirm this. and also to the Norwegian FA, they also confirmed it was postponed, the European Championships. But yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen, whether it resumes or not, I do not know. But anyway, that's the latest news on Paul Pogba. I give you the breaking news, didn't I, earlier on regarding the Nemanja Matic. Good news, by the way, coming out about Matic. He has being given a 1-year extension on his contract as Nemanja Matic, which is very, very good news. Obviously, Man United did have the option to extend his contract by a further year anyway. So Matic now is under contract with the football club until the summer of 2021. And I think he deserves at least another year anyway at Manchester United, does Matic, because I think recently he really has rejuvenated himself and he has hit the ground running. And I think recently he has proven his confounded critics wrong. And I've criticised Matic in the past, and I think he's a very, very slow player. But I've got to say he's done really, really well recently. And by the way, we are in negotiations over getting Matic a new deal at Manchester United. But, he's done really, really well. And like I mentioned, during McTominay's absentee, I thought Matic did well. And he's also done well during Paul Pogba's absentee. I know Matic is a backup to the likes of Fred and McTominay, but I've got to give him a lot of credit. I think Matic is, 31 or 32 years of age, is he? He's now into his third season as a Manchester United player. He's Matic. His third season as a Manchester United player, and he's made over 100 appearances for the football club. Manchester United did pay £40 million for Matic back in 2017 from Chelsea. Yes, and like I mentioned, now this is his third season at the football club. So yeah, so he will be staying at Man United at least for another year. Obviously, I gave you the news, didn't I, regarding Phil Jones on my previous video. Obviously, the West Ham and Newcastle have expressed their interest in Phil Jones. Reports were coming out saying that they was willing to put £12 million offers in for him. Obviously, we're not going to get a substantial amount for Phil Jones, because obviously Jones has been at the club for several years. Of course, he's aging up. I think now Jones is into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. He has enjoyed 8 years here. But as it stands now, Phil Jones seldom plays for the football club. He doesn't even get in the team anymore, does Phil Jones. The club made a bad decision last season by giving him, a new long-term contract, to be quite honest with you. But he can't get in the team, Phil Jones, and I think Phil Jones has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But, he can't get in the team because he's a centre-half. And obviously, we've got quite a lot of centre-halves in the team, despite the fact that, Smalling's out on loan with Roma. Obviously, Rojo's out on loan at Estudiantes. But yeah, and you've got Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof that are our first choice centre halves. You've got obviously Bay, and that's just come back from injury, and Alex Tuanzebe, that's just come back from injury as our backup centre halves. And you've also got Luke Shaw, that's played as a centre half quite a few times in a back three this season. So there's no way Phil Jones is going to be able to get into the team. So if we can get rid of him this summer, that would be a very, very good business by the football club. Obviously, last week, don't forget, Chon did commit his future with Manchester United. Chon did sign a 2-year contract with the football club with the option of a further year. Chon's appearances have been limited at Manchester United, but he's played more than Angel Gomes, like I mentioned. Chon's been at United since 2016. We did get him from Fernand. I think he's made around 14 or 15 first team appearances for the club. Made his debut last season in our 2-0 win against Reading and that. But yeah. And but like I mentioned, I'm hopeful that the season does resume after April the 3rd. I hope it can resume and that. Like I said to you guys, with this coronavirus outbreak and that, it could change the context of, the Premier League and, the Championship and that, obviously, if the season doesn't resume, do Liverpool be crowned Premier League champions? And that is debatable now. Some reports have said they will be crowned champions, and some reports have said, they won't be crowned champions. Liverpool, as it stands anyway at the moment, only need 2 wins, to clinch their first ever Premier League title and to end their 30-year drought. Obviously, do we get qualification for the Champions League if the season wasn't to resume after April the 3rd? Obviously, the teams who are in the relegation zone, would they get relegated? Obviously, would Leeds and West Brom get promoted? What about the Championship playoffs and that? And like I said, there has been a lot of rumours. It's controversial plans. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I was reading the Daily Mail, and it's not reliable, the Daily Mail, that much, but they were basically saying that there could be 22 teams in the Premier League next season, 5 teams could be relegated, and the EFL Cup games could be axed, obviously, to increase, Premier League fixtures, because obviously if there's 22 teams in the league next season, there's going to be more fixtures in the Premier League and that. But like I mentioned, the Premier League clubs are going to hold an emergency meeting this Thursday to establish plans for the remainder of the season. So then we're going to know more on Thursday. Obviously, the Champions League games and the Europa League games, as you all know, have been suspended. I don't think yet, UEFA have made a decision how long they are suspended for. Obviously, hopefully, we've got to hope that, the UEFA games the Europa League games do resume. Because obviously, like I mentioned, we are in the Europa League and we have progressed to the last 8 of the competition, and we have emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. So we've got to be hopeful, that can resume. Also, too, we've got to be hopeful that the FA Cup can resume, because them games have also been suspended, and the FA Cup is another priority for us, because that's a chance of us getting some silverware on the board. And the Europa League, like I mentioned, that's a chance for us also getting some silverware on the board and that. But like I mentioned, we will know more on Thursday. But like I mentioned, the only main explanation we know why the games got cancelled is because of what happened to Mikel Arteta. Obviously, Mikel Arteta last week got tested positive for coronavirus. Obviously, like I said, he had to self-isolate himself. So too did the entirety of the Arsenal first team squad. The training ground shut, etc., etc. And obviously, there's Callum Hudson-Odoi at Chelsea got tested positive for it. Quite a few other players have been tested for the virus. So this is why, it has had, an effect on football, But like I mentioned, we all love football. I hate, when there's no football. But like I mentioned, public health is more of a priority than football. But I do believe, this virus will die down eventually. But we'll just have to see what happens anyway. We will just have to see in that. Like I mentioned, Man United are making plans for the summer transfer window. We have got quite a lot of players on our agenda who we could go in for. But I think, want to make around 3 or 4 signings this summer and that. So obviously now I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Jude Bellingham from Birmingham. He's been one player on our agenda. Obviously, he's got a transfer decision to make out of 4 clubs, because there's a total of 4 clubs that are in for Jude Bellingham, and that's Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Chelsea and Man United. I think he's expected to leave Birmingham at the end of the season. Birmingham have confirmed that they do want around £30 million for Jude Bellingham. Like I said, I don't think it's Premier League standard at the moment. I think Jude Bellingham needs at least one more season in the Championship with Birmingham, because he hasn't got the minerals to come and succeed yet in the Premier League, or he isn't good enough for the Bundesliga as yet. Is Jude Bellingham, because he's only 16 years of age, is Jude Bellingham, so he's still inexperienced. He's going to sign a professional contract with Birmingham in the summer, because at the moment he's on £145 a week. And don't forget, he became the youngest player to represent Birmingham, did Jude Bellingham. He made his senior debut at the age of 16 years and 38 days, did Jude Bellingham. But he has played persistently this season as Jude Bellingham. To be fair, he has become an integral part of Birmingham's team. Don't forget, last Monday, he visited our Carrington training ground to hold talks with Ferguson. Obviously, his family was also there, so that had fueled a lot of speculation up. So he's one player on our agenda. Jadon Sancho, he's our number 1 priority target for the summer transfer window. Obviously, a lot of clubs have expressed their interest in Jadon Sancho. Man United, Chelsea, Real Madrid, PSG and that. But I think his actual preference is a move to Manchester United if he does decide to, leave Borussia Dortmund. I give you the update the other day about Sancho, and he did actually, say that a European football expert had come out and, confirmed that Sancho will be in the Premier League next season. This is what it had basically said. And I think, Sky in Germany did report out back in February, which was last month. They said that Jadon Sancho, has made a decision and he wants to leave Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season. So this is what it basically said. The Borussia Dortmund CEO, he reiterated recently saying, if Jadon Sancho wants to leave, we'll discuss a transfer. But Borussia Dortmund have confirmed they want around £100 million at least. So we are going to have to make him a record signing in the Premier League, and we are going to have to make him our most expensive signing. Could even cost £120 million, could Jadon Sancho. And, we may have to pay around 200. I think we are willing, by the way, to offer him around £200,000 a week, Jadon Sancho. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund will look at it from a financial point of view and they'll go, look, we're making a huge profit on the player because they basically got him from next to nothing from City. They only paid around £7 or £8 million in from Manchester City. And also the beneficial thing is that, he's played in the Premier League, never really got any first team opportunities at Man City. And this is the main explanation why he left Manchester City to join Borussia Dortmund. He's still got around 2 years left on his contract, by the way, with Borussia Dortmund. I think he's got like 31 goals in 90 appearances for Dortmund, but now he's into his third season with them. Earlier on in the season, by the way, Jadon Sancho was dropped in quite a lot of games, but he is predominantly a right winger, and Manchester United are in search for a right winger, and he would complement our attacking line really, really well, would Jadon Sancho. And don't forget, he would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because Solskjaer does still want to continue the policy of recruiting young players into the football club. But we've been relentlessly linked with Jadon Sancho, and a lot of people are saying we need qualification for the Champions League to get Jadon Sancho on the board. But, I'm very convinced Manchester United can get qualification for the Champions League, because obviously, like I mentioned, we're in the Europa League. Obviously, we're still in that top four race. We're only 3 points behind Chelsea. Well, fifth place is a Champions League spot, reflecting on Manchester City's ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. They have appealed against the decision of Man City, and they've thrown a lot of money at the appeal. So the main explanation why we didn't get Sancho last year is because, he wasn't in Champions League football, but he's only the age of 20 anyway. Obviously, Jack Grealish now, he's our number one priority target for this summer transfer window. And Jack Grealish, would probably cost us around £70 million. Probably wouldn't be as much as £70 million if Villa were to get relegated. But if they were to avoid relegation, Grealish would cost us around £70 million. They'd say Man United are willing to offer him around £150,000 a week to convince him to come, because I think, this is what Jack Grealish wants. But if Paul Pogba was to remain at the club, would Man United then really need Jack Grealish to come in? But yeah, he's another player on our agenda, is Jack Grealish. So it is good that we are making plans for the summer transfer window. I do believe Manchester United need another centre forward. Even if the club do decide to make Odion Ighalo's transfer permanent, I still think, we need another centre forward. I've got to give Odion Ighalo a lot of credit. Odion Ighalo has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's got 4 goals in 3 starts for the football club. Like I mentioned, he's the vocal point. He's a good, cover-up to Marcus Rashford, is Odion Ighalo. And he's totally comparison to Martial, Rashford, James, and all our other attacking players is comparison. Because like Solskjaer said, is an option of a different type of centre-forward is the Nigerian. And don't forget, he has been a United fan since he was a boy, Odion Ighalo. But yeah, Solskjaer did make the admission saying we could decide to make his transfer permanent. We could decide to make his transfer permanent. At the moment, we've got him on a 6-month loan. Man United are paying a third of his wages. Like he updated you yesterday, he did say that Odion Ighalo is willing to take around the £6 million cut in his wages, to remain at Manchester United. But I've got to say, he's proven all his critics wrong as Odion Ighalo, because a lot of people were saying he was a panic buy by Manchester United. But I'm very, very delighted by the way that we have now, that we did obviously, get him in. But before he came to Man United, he played in the Premier League because he enjoyed 3 years with Watford, did Odion Ighalo and that. I think, we do need a central midfielder, definitely. So I think we need probably around 3, maybe 4 signings at the most in the summer. And Man United are going to spend a substantial amount in the summer. I can assure that we're going to spend probably over £200 million. And if Solskjaer was to be Man United manager in the summer, that would be over £400 million he'd have spent. And obviously that would be a total of like 8 or 9 players he'd have brought in if he's still here after the summer transfer window. and that's if we get players in the summer. Because obviously, so far Solskjaer has enjoyed 3 transfer windows at Manchester United, and he's recommended 5 players in, and spent around £220 million and that. But I've got to give Solskjaer a lot of credit, for the players that he's recommended in so far. They've done really, really well. James, like I mentioned, James hasn't been so good in the last month or so, let's be honest, or a couple of months. But he's recently rejuvenated himself because he ended his goal drought against Lask. That was his first goal for the club since the 31st of August. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised he's played as many games to the extent this season. I didn't expect him to play as many games to the extent as he has done, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I think, because he enjoyed a really, really good start. This is why, he has been playing persistently, Daniel James. But I do believe, from my own perception, Solskjaer's been overplaying him a little bit. Obviously we paid £15 million for him. But you got to say, it was a reasonable solution, was John James. And, we got him for next to nothing, basically. Daniel James, let's be honest. He's done well, coming all the way from the Championship to the Premier League. And Wan-Bissaka, we paid 45 mil for him. Very, very good right back is Wan-Bissaka, and a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved. So I've got to give him a lot of credit. I think Harry Maguire has done really, really well for us. We did pay £80 million for him last summer from Leicester. We did overpay for him, but obviously, we had to pay what Leicester were demanding. Or Leicester, it wouldn't have convinced Leicester to offload Harry Maguire. But I've got to say he's done well. His composure, his calmness, shows that ability to play out from the back. He's just very, very good. I think he's also getting better in the air, is Maguire. He scored 2 goals for Manchester United as Harry Maguire. And, we did make the right decision by giving him the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure from the football club. So I've got to credit the signings, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has brought in. Also, you've got to give him a lot of credit as well, because he has got rid of a lot of the dead wood. We've got rid of around 9 senior players since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that. But obviously, this summer, there's still more deadwood that do need to leave the football club. Because like I mentioned, I think Man United need to get rid of around 4 or 5 players this summer. I think we need to get rid of around 4 or 5 players this summer, if I'm going to be quite honest with you in that. And I think, we're hopeful that we can generate over £200 million for the 5 players we are planning to get rid of this summer. Like I mentioned, Jones will probably be one. I think we'll definitely get rid of Jesse Lingard, because he's been a liability, and last year didn't score 1 goal or 1 assist. So that just indicates how inconsistent Lingard has been. Lingard's got just under 16 months left on his contract at the football club. And also to Pereira, he's also a liability, so I think we'll probably try and get rid of him. Sanchez will try and get rid of him on a permanent transfer. Rojo will try and get rid of him on a permanent transfer. Like I mentioned, there's a possibility that David De Gea could leave the football club as well. So we'll get rid of around 4 or 5 players. But there's still a lot of players I will be determined to keep. But I've got to be honest, a lot of aspects of our game have really, really improved recently. We're playing as a unit, we're playing as a team, our football looks very expansive, and we are scoring goals and we are creating chances. This is very, very good to see. Don't forget, Solskjaer outlined his philosophy, and he wants us to play attacking football under his management. But I've got to give Solskjaer a lot of credit recently, like I've mentioned. I credit him when he deserves to be credited, but I criticise him when he deserves to be criticised. But, his approach to games has been good recently. He's been making the right decisions. His plan A and plan B's been there. He's showed a lot of tactical flexibility. And like I've mentioned to you on my recent videos, I think Man United look much better with the 3-5-2 formation, because we look more expansive. I know on a regular basis this season Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, but I think, we look much better with 3 at the back. And that's from my own perception, to be quite honest with you. But people will have a different perception on it. On the odd occasion, he's gone with a 4-3-3. He went with a 4-3-3 against Lask. I think he went a lot with a 4-3-3, did Solskjaer, when he was the interim manager. And we don't look so bad with a 4-3-3, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But Man United are unbeaten in 11 games in all competitions. This is our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. But I think it's likely he will still be Manchester United manager next season. If it goes all wrong, then we'll decide to get rid of him. Then we'll either recommend Mauricio Pochettino or Massimiliano Allegri, because they're being linked with a managerial role at Manchester United throughout the course of this season. But Solskjaer has now been at the football club 15 months. We give him the job permanently, reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager. A lot of people said, we give Solskjaer the job a bit too early. And I will agree on that, we did give him the job a bit too early. But these some positives, we've done really, really well against the top 6 sides this season. We've registered like 17 points against the top 6 sides this season. Don't forget, Solskjaer become the first manager in history to beat Pep Guardiola 3 times in one season. But like I mentioned, I still think he'll be Man United manager next season, but I still don't think he is the long-term solution for the football club. We've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years, but we can still finish in that top 4 and that. Earlier on in the season, we were facing a relegation battle, and don't forget, Solskjaer did get Cardiff relegated, so put that into the equation. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes, on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.